I'm in the park. Hopefully I'll get a bit of peace and quiet. It's quite an extensive park. I believe I'm there right now. I don't know if there's there probably isn't a map available of the park. I'll just have to follow my nose or just see where other people are going and kind of follow them. This is another of those royal palaces now converted into an art museum. But my impression so far, so good, right? Pretty good. Never far away from the airport though. The entrance to the museum is quite pricey to go. It's an art gallery rather than a museum. I believe there's some quite famous Renaissance artists there. I say it probably was a royal park. I think it was a royal park at one time. But it's a bit of an escape from all the bedlam and noise of where I'm actually staying right now. Well, not in the apartment, but on the streets surrounding. So it's quite an extensive park. I came in there, Porta Grande. I'm now at the great entrance, and now I'm at the little entrance, Porta Piccolo. So you can see how extended it is. I think if you walk around the park, you're probably looking at at least a 3-mile walk. What I'm going to do now is just go have a quick look outside the gate and see if there's a bus stop to go home. Lots of school parties here. I'm entering a woodland here, a mature woodland by the look of it. So I'm kind of gasping for the escape from the noise and the Neapolitans just seem to live with it, but that amount of noise and pollution must affect them. Yet apparently their average lifespan is pretty normal, you know, for a Western country. Okay, so this is in contrast to the noise and bustle. You get a peace and quiet. So this actually, it seems to be a reasonably well kept park. Of course, there's one thing you don't expect here in Naples is a nice smooth walking surface. You kind of walking on pothole surfaces. Most of the time there's some kind of not a statue, some kind of a edifice there. Now this park, a nice little cool breeze as well. It was well up in the 70s, possibly touching 80 yesterday. It was not much cooler on Saturday. And today it's a bit warmer, forecast to go up to about 70, I think it's already about 70 degrees, forecast to go up to about 73 degrees, so, and I hear back in Harlech, where I currently, I have been living for a long time, temperatures are in the low 40s and miserable. Okay, so that's the noise you constantly hear in Italy. It's not just in Naples, it's also in Rome, right? It's just the noise of sirens going off all the time. It's kind of like a bit of a recovery. It needed a little bit of peace and quiet. Although I don't know what that building's for. Of course, I have got the disadvantage, of course, that I don't speak Italian, so there's no translation here on the information boards. They're all in Italian. Okay, I'm entering another woodland. I think I might be getting somewhere towards the the other end of the park. I think I must have walked close to a mile so far. Okay, as I say, it's quite an extensive park, and I suppose you could call it I'm not sure what the direction is, the main entrance. Yeah, look at that, it continues going for quite some distance. I might just go. I don't know how much further. I'll check the map in a minute. The Google map is mainly a street map and a map for advertisers, businesses, things like that. But there's a kind of a school bus over there, so there's lots of school parties in this park, and it feels perfectly safe. Yeah, in fact, all the graffiti, still a little bit of graffiti on the building, but hardly any compared with what you see in the city centre of Naples. It's gotten quite murky overhead. The sun has largely disappeared, but it's kind of kind of like a humid heat. It's in the 70s, I see, the low 70s. This looks like one of those memorial benches, the 20th of March 2023, taking a line out of Dante's Inferno. I don't know, well, I might translate it later. But yeah, so you can hear the noise in the distance, but this is kind of like a little bit of peace and quiet, much needed. I just checked the OS map, which kind of, on the terrain version, you can't get, of course, OS maps in Italy, but on the terrain version, I'm pretty well close to the top end of the park. So, I quite like it. It's a bit of relaxation. This is one of those straight roads without turning. They never seem to end. Okay, I think the roads in this park, well, yeah, kind of laid out in kind of like a grid pattern, 90 degrees to each other. So I'm probably missing a few things. Yeah, it's a 15-minute walk to, Gardena, yeah. Cafeteria, something down there, 15 minutes. Well, I'll be heading back now, I think. It's 12:15, and by the time we get to the bus stop and wait for the bus and back in the apartment, might be around, well, between 1 and 2 sometimes. Really safe here. There's another building there, looks like it's kind of empty. Police cars on a patrol there, which is pretty good. As I say, you feel perfectly safe here. I'm not sure how safe it is to wander around Naples once you go out of the tourist areas. There might be 1 or 2 characters there who, they say there's a strong mafia organisation in Naples. Okay, some little statues, headless statues by the look of them, all around this piazza. Alright, so it's a school party coming up. Before I left the park, I don't know if you can pick a silhouette of some kind of a fancy sculpture there. Looks like it might have been a fountain. No water in it at the moment. One of the reasons I came up here was to get a view over Naples, but of course today, unfortunately, there's a little bit of a view, but it's pretty murky and it's humid as well. So it's not very good for walking, but luckily there's not much of a breeze. So there it is, and looks like there's a big cruise ship big cruise ship in the harbour there. Yeah, so there's the cruise ship over there. I don't know if I can see, it's a little bit on the hazy side. Somewhere there. Yeah, so there'll be a lot of tourists off that. Well, what do they carry? I think some of them carry up to about 2,000 tourists, all flooding into Naples. That's why they get all those tinkers, I think. So hopefully to make a, well, they can't make much of a living because there seems to be thousands of them all competing with each other. Alright, so there's the view. I think that's Vesuvius over there. Okay, that's pretty handy. The C63 bus, which is what I caught to get up here, but I got off at about a quarter of a mile down that hill there. I'm not sure if it comes up this way, but it goes back this way. So this is really... I've been pretty lucky really all through this with the... I seem to be in the right place at the right moment. So now see how long I have to wait. What's wrong, the C63 bus stops right outside the main gate. So you must go around in a bit of a circle somewhere and end up getting here. C63. So there's the main gate and there's the bus. So all I've got to do now is wait for it to come back. That's the man himself, Dante. Dante Square. That's the man of a boarding school apparently. That's safe and sound on via Toledo. Okay, this is the Church of Santa Chiara, I think it's pronounced in Italian. I think the current structure dates from the 18th century. And frescoes on the wall. So this church is about a quarter of a mile away from where I'm staying, and I can see the roof from my apartment. Advertised as an apartment with a panoramic view. I might be able to see the top of that tree. I've got plenty of time to kill. The church is open for another 2.5 hours. That's a fresco that dates from the first half of the 14th century. So that's a long time ago. Looks like I got this to myself. That's nice to get away from the crowds. And it's a large complex, as I say. I can see it from my apartment balcony. Now apparently this church was almost completely destroyed by aerial bombardment in the Second World War. So it's a remarkable job of, I don't know how they, presumably that fresco on the wall there wasn't actually destroyed, but well, I'm not sure. But they did a remarkable job of rebuilding it. The whole, and not just this, but many other churches and historical buildings were all completely rebuilt over the space of 10 years after the Second World War. Now you pay €5 to enter this. I don't mind paying. €5 isn't much. I say I've got time to kill, but it's an interesting place to visit anyway. More frescoes. There's the base of that tree. I can probably see that from my apartment. But that must have survived the bombing in the Second World War, because it seems older than the Second World War took place, what, about 70 years ago. So, yeah. This looks like the archaeological kind of artifacts in this. It's kind of like a museum. Not sure where that leads to. Let's go up here. Oh, yeah, this is interesting. I think all these are probably foundations, Roman foundations, so it probably shows it here. Yeah, well, okay. Some of these foundations are part of baths set up by the Greeks 500 years before the birth of Christ. So that's a long time ago. This is interesting. Remains of Greek baths and swimming pools. Huh. Yeah, muy bien. Use a Spanish expression. It's I think the Italian equivalent is molto bene. Molto bene. Huh. Yeah, that's yeah. All dates from 2,500 years ago. So when they reconstructed this kind of like monastery before, after the bombing, they unearthed all these remains. Looks like they've got scaffolding up there to protect the from the elements. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing that interests me. And of course, you saw this all in Pompeii, of course, on a large scale, but this is actually Greek, I think. The Greeks were the first people to colonize this area. There's like ancient walls there. Okay, so the flooring looks as though it's been kept, survived. Of course, all this was all buried for thousands of years. Of course, if I went to the Naples Archaeological Museum, there would be a vast number of these artifacts. It looks like a little container with not numerals, Roman letters. So that's obviously not Greek. This looks like, so most of this now is in Italian, so I don't know what I'm looking at, but obviously this is not Greek or Roman, it's the medieval ages. And that looks like the Pope there, with his benedictions. Okay, these look as though they might date back from when this was a Greek colony. All these artifacts along here. Yeah, it's all in Italian, which makes sense. This is it's Italy after all. And of course, I think the most people that come around here, the majority are Italian. Like everyone else, they're interested, especially in their own history. And of course, I think probably a lot of people here are off that huge cruise ship that was docked in the harbour Okay, let's see. So apparently all this was reconstructed, frescoes and all. I don't know how they managed that. I can't see any sign of bits and pieces all kind of glued together. And of course, I think most European cities that were on the wrong side of the war, most of their cities were actually destroyed. Places like Germany, of course, and in places like France as well. I think they received a lot of bombing. Notable features of this monastery are these kind of like coloured seating tiles. Actually, that admission charge was just for the museum. This is the actual church here, which I can see the building. I can see quite clearly on my apartment. So it's you can see it's quite a massive building. I presume all this was rebuilt after the Second World War. Okay, this is what the church looked like after the bombardment, and looks like the walls are largely intact, but of course all the stained glass windows. As I said before, they did a remarkable job of rebuilding. Because it probably provided work for, I mean, it's not just Naples. Naples was the most heavily bombed of all the Italian cities, but it wasn't the only one. I think Rome, I'm not sure if Rome was heavily bombed. Okay, so that's the exterior of the building there. Oh, easily 100 feet high. I've already shown the inside of that. Looks pretty bland on the outside, but fantastic inside. To step inside of another church, it's just 100 yards away from where I'm living, if that, as the crow flies. Just 100 yards, no less than 100 yards as the crow flies from where I'm staying. That's the outside there of the church. There's a dome up there, which I could just see the top of that from an apartment. But you know, it's not. You wouldn't know. Wouldn't know there's an impressive church inside. Don't know what that building is there. Looks